Let me just read this statement that the city has prepared here. Welcome to the Milford Zoning Board of Appeals. As we continue to host remote meetings, I want to take the opportunity to highlight a few guidelines to ensure business runs effectively and that all statutory and administrative rules are followed.
This letter.
In accordance, Irby, thank you. In accordance with the Freedom of Information Act and the Governor of Lamont's executive orders, this meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the City of Milford's website. During this meeting, if members of the Zoning Board of Appeals would like to speak, please utilize the unmute feature via Zoom and wait to be recognized. All participants will be muted during the meeting unless recognized by the chair. After being recognized to speak, please state your name and for members of the public, your address prior to making a statement. All right, so let us begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have a flag, Mr. Harris? We do.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Meg, roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Casey? I saw him.
Oh, sorry. Here.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Dubois?
Here.
Mr. Hirsch?
Here.
Mr. Soda?
Here.
Ms. Valakut?
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Wolf?
He
Mr.
was
Wolf?
here. Mr.
can-
Wolf,
I can see him.
Okay.
And Mr. Chizola.
here.
Thank you.
Okay, also present is our zoning officer, Stephen Harris, our recording secretary, Meg Green. If anyone feels that one of these commissioners on the board might be a conflict of interest with your application, please let us know. Okay, so this evening, one of our board members, Sarah Ferranti, is not here. Michael Casey, would you please fill in for Sarah this evening?
Okay, sure.
Thank you. With that, Ms. Valakut, I would like to ask you to read the applicants, please, the applications.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
be advised that 781 East Broadway won't be heard tonight.
right, correct. Okay, thank you very much. Move to October, and that was a request of the applicant. So we have
Yes.
three hearings. Ms. Valakut.
Yes. Number 1, 766 East Broadway, NBP 22/456/3 R5. Theda Stewart, architect for Caesar Irby, owner variance section 3141, side yard setback of 3 feet 8 inches where 10 feet is required. On southerly side, section 414, eve projection of 2.8 where 8 feet is permitted on southerly side of to build a single family home.
Okay, who's doing 766?
Danny Stewart.
Go ahead, Mr. Stewart.
Good evening. So we come to the board again for a decision based on what we're looking to do. Stephen, do you have the drawings that you can put up?
Yes, I do.
So what we're hoping to do is, based on our application, we have a side yard setback over here that's requesting 10 feet, and we have approximately 3 feet 8 inches, 4 feet. For side yard setback, we're looking to get that changed, as well as the front yard setback. We have an existing structure there that we are raising. We're going to demolish the existing structure and move the front of the new structure back 10 feet on the southeast corner, and on the northeast corner, the southwest corner, we're 14 feet 3 inches. And we have some projections and overhangs that all fall within the guidelines of the zoning application. So primarily, that's what we're here to do. This is our second time. We paid 2 fees for the application and all the mailings that went out. We sent out a butter letters, and we're here ZBA's consideration.
All right, so I'd like to ask you, what changes have you made since you did your other presentation?
Sure.
Did you just mention a couple of feet short on?
Right. So we, in fact, we relocated. We were 9 feet 9 inches originally on the southeast corner. We made that 10 feet. We've also reduced the size of the footprint. We're over 1,300, approximately 1,300 square feet. Now we're at 1,100 square feet approximately. The side yard setback remains the same. We just tilted the house a little more, and we were able to capture 14 feet 3 inches in the southwest corner.
Okay, so you took 200 square feet off the rear of the house.
Oh yes. So we reduced the size.
Okay. All right. Any commissioners, any questions right now for Mr. Stewart? Any questions for Mr. Stewart?
I have a question.
Okay. Anyone else speaking in favor right now of this application? Anyone speaking in favor of this application? Okay, is there anyone opposed to this application? Opposition? We had some last month, so I kind of assuming that some of their, some of the things they were concerned about might have been changed, so. Okay, again, opposition. Okay. I see it says Dawn here. Are you trying to talk? You're muted. Raise your hand if you want to speak, and then you're muted.
There you go.
Dawn? There you go.
I still can't hear her.
No, we can't hear
Yes,
them.
because they don't have their voice on for their computer. They have to turn the volume on their computer.
Alex, can you check this?
Okay, now
There
we can hear you.
Hear it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
All right.
You're going to have to speak up, though, because you're very low.
Very low. Okay. I wrote down a few things that was a little concerning. And one is the 2.8 feet in the rear corner, which is right next to.
I'm sorry, excuse me. This is the clerk. Can you please identify yourselves?
Oh, I'm sorry. Tony Trimboli, 764 East Broadway.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
At 2.8 feet, I believe I sent some information to the board this week because with the holidays and stuff, I'm not sure if everybody got it. And my concern is that our closest point is 3.8, I believe, and now they want to come to like 2.8 feet away. Left.
I see that.
Right. And I just think that is just, if they can move the house somewhat, do something with that. I mean, I don't see that being a viable way to, in the last meeting, we were told that 3.8 was too close. So I don't see how you can tell us 3.8 is too close and then be at 2.8. Your footing underneath would then be another foot closer. So actually the footing would be at 2.8 in that corner.
Well, the 2.8 is actually a deck above that deck.
Oh, Joe.
Hold on.
Oh, pardon.
Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
Let him finish speaking.
Oh, sure.
If this is Mr., I can't see you right now, Mr. Stewart,
Yes.
we're going to listen to the opposition and then you can rebut.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Go ahead. Who was talking? I'm sorry. Was Joe? Was that your name? I don't know
Tony,
your last name.
was somebody
Go
else speaking? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're up.
Okay. I'm just looking over my notes. You know, like I was saying, even to work on that corner, it'd be very tough to do any type of work without encroaching, you know, at 2 feet away. Plus with footings and digging, I mean, you'd be right, you'd have no room to work. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me at 238. You know, I just don't think it makes any sense.
All right. Anything else?
Yep. I don't know if you can see it on there. We've been told to move the tiki bar that's on the back left corner immediately. But the property to this date has not been, their four corners to point out where their property line starts and ends has not been done as of this point. So it would be hard to move it immediately without them doing the proper, you know, the proper survey pins to, you know, and I mentioned this on the last, on the last meeting, and to this date, they still haven't pinned the corners to give us an indication where the property is. Because if you look on that left-hand corner, there's a fence that goes all the way down. The tiki bar is on the left side of the fence and isn't even encroaching on the other side of the fence. It's not like it's on the other side of the fence. So I didn't see what immediately meant as far as, you know, I mean, that would be like right now. But I think if they want us to move that, I would think the good thing to do would be to stake the property so then I can get an indication of where things are. Also, the other issue that we had was about the gravel. I don't think they realized that under the gravel, where they have gravel on the left-hand side in the driveway, they show it as gravel. That's concrete underneath the gravel. That's just a, you know, is just a decorative, you know, item over the concrete. So, I mean, that's not a big deal, but they're making, you know, they're making an issue of that, you know, with a red, you know, with a red mark saying that, you know, they're trying to define that. So.
Is that existing right now?
Yes, the concrete, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Okay, so to the rear of the property, Mr. Harris, can you bring that picture down a little, please, so we can see the rear of the property? The structures in the rear that you're talking about, is that one of those, that tiki bar? Is that in your property?
That's on my, yeah, well, yes.
That's on your property. Okay.
Yes, it's on our side of the fence, okay?
Do you have any concerns with the shed in the back corner there? The shed belongs to this property, correct?
It's on his property.
That's on his property.
That's correct. Yeah, that's their shed.
Okay. Your biggest concern is the 2.8 on the edge of that decking, correct?
That is totally correct. Yeah,
Yes.
we can shake hands.
Yep. Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, that'll do it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other opposition? Anyone else speaking in opposition?
Joe, can I ask you a question of Dawn?
Yes, you can, Mr. Hirsch. Who do you
Dawn,
want to talk
so
to? Okay.
I want to talk to Dawn, who just was speaking, or whoever was speaking, whatever.
Okay.
What was his name?
I'm Tony. Yep.
So that's your tiki bar, correct?
Yes.
So your tiki bar is on your neighbor's property.
Well, it's on our side of the fence, and they haven't staked it out yet, so we don't know where the property line is at this point.
All right, but you were here at the last meeting, right?
Yes.
So, and you saw that tiki bar was on your neighbor's property, or at least according to the plans, was on your neighbor's property.
That's correct.
Okay, have you taken any steps to remove the tiki bar after having been presented with these plans?
I would totally move it anywhere as long as I know where the property line is. I don't have anything to define it. I
Okay.
will go out and get a surveyor and then survey the property myself to see if their survey is accurate. If that's what I need to do, I'll do it.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
so
Fair
that's
enough.
what I'll do. I'll call my surveyor tomorrow and I will go out and have a survey done.
Okay.
So this way I can confirm where the property line is if they're not going to stake out the property. That's fine. They're making a claim that that's on there. I don't know how that claim is made. They have a survey. I don't know, there's no defined line there of where the line actually is. Until there's a defined line, where do you want me to move it? Okay? The tiki bar,
Is a tiki bar built in or is it movable?
there's no concrete, there's no nothing. It's just four by four PT sticking out of the ground. It can move anywhere.
Okay.
All right, it's not a structure.
Okay.
So that's fair enough of you. Let's ask them if,
I will go tomorrow.
I would assume that that they've had their property surveyed if they're planning on doing all this building. Well, that's a question for them. Okay, so, all right. So are you all set, sir? Are you all set, sir?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other opposition? Okay. Mr. Stewart? You can address, one of the things that it does look like an issue is, yes, the house is 18.2 inches wide. Is that it?
18 feet 2 inches.
Why do you need an extra foot on each side for that rear deck?
Well, we can actually reduce the size of the deck. That deck is, as I was stating earlier, that deck is 14 feet above the grade. So, and the back is even lower. So it's probably 3 plus 13. So we're 17 feet up. That deck is approximately 17 feet up. As far as the 2.8.
Okay, yeah, but you know, so the biggest concern with this whole property is the length of this house. And for 3.8 feet all the way down the whole side. So I can see someone, you know, kind of complaining about that little extra bump out in the rear there. So.
Oh yes, the deck has mentioned we were trying to capture as much deck as possible towards the back of the house. So that deck is approximately 17 feet approximately from the finished grade in the back of the house on the north side.
Okay, so that's understandable.
As far as the tiki bar location, well, we have a licensed surveyor who actually surveyed this, and there is a pin there. So this your surveyor, Tony and Dawn, there's an iron pin in the backyard. It sticks it right there, right at the 8-foot dimension line of the rear deck. There's a pin there, and we have control points in the front of the house as well as on a utility pole on East Broadway. So be our guest. We've had a month since our last meeting, and we presented this then, so you knew about it. If you had a survey, their survey, we could have presented that this evening as well. But unfortunately, according to a licensed surveyor, the rear corner of the tiki bar is actually on the property. And the parking lot in the front, the southwest corner, that what's being used as a parking spot, gravel or concrete, it matters not. It appears that not only does that 4 feet 4 inches from the corner, it will actually be 3 feet 5 inches from the existing foundation that's there now. That's the extent of the park. So a vehicle is being parked in that area that actually encroaches, if not oversteps the property line. It appears that the way we position the foundation, or the way we're proposing to position the foundation, we're trying to maximize that area to minimize encroaching on either property. And that you were referring to, that fence almost is a demarcation line. So that fence is actually, I don't know who put the fence up, but according to our survey, and you can see where it's noted, that fence is actually on my client's property. So we have a few issues that we've resolved from our first appearance. We reduced the width of the house. The width was 18.6. We reduced that. We reduced the length of the house. It was over 72 feet. Now it's 62 feet, as well as positioned or triangulated the foundations to maximize side yard setbacks. But as far as the deck in the rear, we could reduce the size of that deck, and considering that we're approximately 17 feet up for that current deck, I don't see how that'll impede them on the ground level.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Any other questions for Mr. Stewart? Board members, questions for Mr. Stewart? Okay, I'm going to close this hearing. We're all set? Okay, this hearing's closed. Well, they did make quite a few changes, as you can see. Mr. Harris, he's saying that this property was surveyed. If there's an issue with the neighbor's fence being on their property, I mean, there's nothing that we can do right now about that.
No, that's a civil issue.
That's something else. That's another issue.
Yeah.
So commissioners, we can approve this as presented with also making a condition that the rear deck be even with the house instead of at 2.8, that those two corners be pulled in. I see the changes that they made is okay, except for that. That is really a concern. There's really no reason to push the deck out a little further. And as far as the tiki bar next door and all, again, that's nothing that it's brought to our attention, but it's nothing that we can have anything to do with. It's nothing under our jurisdiction. Mr. Soda, go ahead.
Well, I like all the changes. The only thing is I agree with you to move the deck flush with the house.
Okay. Any other comments? I don't see anybody raising their hands. No other
Mr.
comments?
Wolf.
Mr. Wolf, go ahead. Chris, we can't hear you. You're off, you're muted now. Go ahead, try again.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Chris. No.
Chris, check the volume on your computer.
Yeah, is your volume all the way up on your computer? You're unmuted, but you don't have your volume.
This is such a joke.
Oh, we heard that.
All right, we're gonna have to move on then. We'll have to move on. Okay, so Mr. Soda, you've made your recommendations. Any other comments? We need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the stipulation that the deck does not exceed the width of the house.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second on the motion. All right, we have a motion and a second on the motion. Let's see here. Who do we have? Ms. Valakut?
With the motion.
Mr.
Want me to
Wolf?
read
Mr. Wolf, you're gonna have to raise your hand or something. Mr. Wolf.
How about
are you
now?
with- Yeah, now
Now
we
we
hear you.
can.
Now
Mr.
we
Wolf?
can hear you.
Apologize.
Okay. We have
It's
a
a big
motion.
joke.
We have a motion and we had a second on the motion. And we have one board member, Ms. Valakut, as she's with the motion so far. We need your vote, Mr. Wolf.
For the motion.
Okay. Mr. Soda,
With the motion.
Mr. Casey,
With the motion.
and I'm with the motion. It's approved with the deck condition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Ms. Valakut.
Okay, number 2, 135 4th Avenue, MBP 9/78/16, R10, Gerard Clinton owner, variance section 3141, north side yard setback to 3 feet 9 inches where 10 feet required, South side yard to 5 feet 1 inch where 10 feet required. Rear yard to 15 feet 2 inches where 25 required. Lot coverage to 64% where 50% permitted. Building coverage to 42.7% where 35% permitted. All to build addition.
Okay, who's doing the presentation on this?
Myself.
Gerard. Okay, what is your full name, please?
Gerard Clinton,
Okay, and your address?
135 Fourth Avenue.
All right, I'd like to ask you a question first.
Sure.
Did you have a house? Is there a house number on your house?
Right now,
Because I was down there looking for it, because what we do is we usually go down and look at the properties. And I could not find you on 4th Avenue, so let's see. I found a white house with a blue door next to 136. Is that you?
yes, sir.
And you also didn't have a placard out there.
Unfortunately, it was out front and it fell off the actual.
So, okay, so are your neighbors aware of the fact that you're here this evening to make this presentation to change your property?
Yeah, yes, sir. I mean, all the letters were sent out. I've spoken to each side of my neighbors, and they actually sent emails late today
Okay.
with no problems with the plans that I had shown them,
All right.
as well as a couple other neighbors.
All right, so we're going to take you at your word for that right now, because
My
sometimes.
apologies with the number.
Well, you know what?
In my work-
When people go in, and the situation is different right now with COVID, but they were given a placard, some way that the neighbors know that you have some intentions on making some changes. So okay, go ahead, sir. You might as well start your presentation.
Yeah, so just putting on a small addition, 2-story addition off the back of the house, same footprint as the existing house, 18 feet wide, and I'm just going back 20 feet. I am asking for the variance, the setbacks on the side as well as the back, just due to the undersized lot that exists. Again, I am not encroaching on anybody's property on the sides, and again, I've spoken to each one of them with no issue.
So while your addition is to the rear,
Yes, sir.
questions for Mr. Gerard? Is that your name, sir? Is it Mr. Gerard, or is that your first? Mr. Clinton, I'm sorry. Questions for Mr. No, hold on there, Rebecca.
Go ahead.
Are you going to be speaking in favor of this application or opposed to this application?
Myself?
Yes.
Yes. I'm in favor of the application.
Okay, so right now, the way we run our meetings is the person does their presentation, then they ask who else is in favor. So if you can just wait a few minutes, please.
Okay. I just had a question about the addition.
All right, we'll get to the questions later. Okay. Okay. All right. Any questions for Mr. Clinton right now, board members? No? Okay. All right. Speaking in favor, that would be you, Rebecca. Go ahead. If you're in favor, I'm not sure.
I believe I'm in favor. My question I have is, will the driveway that is currently his driveway?
Excuse me, clerk again. Can you identify yourself, please?
We need your address.
Sorry, Rebecca Elsley, for both 153 4th Avenue across from him and 131 4th Avenue, 2 houses to the right of him. We own 2 properties.
Okay.
That
is your question. What we're going to do is give us your questions, and Mr. Clinton will answer the questions.
Okay. Is the driveway that's currently the driveway going to stay as the driveway location? Is that being altered at any point, at any area?
Okay.
So in this actual project, the driveway is existing, is going to stay existing. Obviously, I would like to just redo the driveway, to repave it, just to make it look a little bit nicer. But to alter it, to make it bigger, or no, not at all?
Okay, so you're not removing it.
No, no, no.
Okay, I'm in favor.
Okay. Anyone else speaking in favor of this application? Okay. Board members, any questions so far? All right, is there anyone here opposed? 135 4th Avenue, opposed to this application? Any further questions from the board members? This hearing's closed. Okay, what are your thoughts?
Back to the map,
Go
please.
ahead, Mr. Soto. Mr. Hirsch, hold on, you'll be next then.
Well, he's keeping it in line with the house on both sides, so I don't see a problem with this.
Okay. Mr. Hirsch, did you have a question? No? Okay. Someone else had started to speak, so,
Can we go back to that map, please, Chris Wolf?
yeah.
Existing footprint, he's popping the second floor up and cantilever in the back an additional 9. No changes to the front. They're tight on the sides. I don't have an issue with this.
Okay. Board members, any other comments? Are we ready for a motion? Mr. Wolf, why don't you make a motion?
Motion to approve based upon existing lot size.
I second it.
We have a second. We have a motion to approve, and we have a second on the motion. Ms. Valakit?
With the motion.
Okay. Mr. Wolf?
With the motion.
Mr. Soto?
With the motion.
Mr. Casey?
With the motion.
I'm with the motion. It's approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, item number 3, 141 Hillside Avenue, MBP 49/795/83, R5 zone. Joseph Rousseau, designer for Jasmina Koban, owner variance section 414 to 4 feet 9 inches, where 16 feet is permitted for a rear deck.
Okay, who's doing this presentation?
Joseph Russo, how are you guys?
Okay, go ahead, sir. Do we have your address?
Yeah, I'm Joe Russo from JMR Design Consultants, located 215 Research Drive, Suite 10, Milford.
Thank you.
Yep. We are representing the Cobins. We started with raising their aging single-family home at 141 Hillside to conform with the VE13 FEMA requirements, being that a 2-foot freeboard to the lowest horizontal structural member is required. We have a 10-foot datum as far as our average grade. So we are going to raise what was once an existing home. We are going to match the existing footprint to create a new home on the existing footprint.
Okay.
And what we're asking for today is just the rear yard deck. We are losing the patio in a sense to being what was once accessible from the ground level, main level, and now being that it's, upwards of 9 feet up in the air, regardless of many steps. The family would love to have a deck, which they can have, they can entertain with their family and just enjoy a deck on the rear yard versus going down many steps to the patio below. So that's what we're asking for today.
All right. Simple as that. Okay. Anyone else speaking in favor of this application? Anyone else speaking in favor? Is there anyone here this evening opposed? Anyone opposed to this application? Okay, questions for, go ahead, Mr. Hirsch.
So if I understand correctly, you're raising the house,
Yes,
and then you want to put a rear deck. You want to put a rear deck on the back, which is away from the water.
which is on the water.
Oh, the rear deck is the one facing the water.
I'm sorry, yeah, front of the house on the street side, or the rear of the house on the water, yes.
Okay, so the house is already near the water. So you want to put it away from the water, or do you want the deck is going to be towards the water?
The deck is towards the road. The front of the house faces the street. The rear of the house faces the water.
All right.
And we're adding a deck just because it's up in the air. And again, versus many steps to go down to the patio below, we'd rather walk out of the main level, which is really
Yep.
called the second floor.
Which is going to be raised up, right? Going to be raised up,
It's raised up to meet FEMA requirements. Yep.
and you're not changing the existing footprint.
No, we're not. We're actually removing.
We're moving the patio.
We're removing an enclosed shed that's on the property line that was once approved a while ago, but we're removing that which abuts Chris Jones's property, just north of it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Russo, Chris Wolf here. Your foundation after you raise the house up, 2-car garage inside, what's going in underneath? Just
Yeah.
piers?
Yeah, there's piers. The client really doesn't want to enclose any breakaway walls aside from the stair enclosure up to the main level. There will be an elevator within the footprint. Aside from that, there's a car parked in the front. We're showing 3. Ideally, it would be 1 car to the left under the existing footprint on the top left, and then where we show 2, it'll probably be 1 car. But very typical to these houses in the neighborhood, multiple cars parked below the main level on the ground level. 3
Understood. So you pull in, you can get out of your car and walk straight out and get back to that existing concrete patio. Then the main floor of the house coming back.
Yeah, the main floor being about 10 feet above that, 9.5 or something, versus walking out to a platform and going down to a deck. They'd like to have a table to eat, lunch,
Very good.
maybe dinner, entertain out there.
And that existing seawall adequate?
It's very adequate. We actually work with structural engineer Asmat Mikael out of Shelton, in addition to Paul Stoll, who's a surveyor, I believe we worked with. But the structural seawall has been, I think, repaired many years ago, but it's very substantially sound.
Thank you. No
Okay.
further questions.
No further questions. Any other commissioner with questions? Any other questions? Okay, so I believe I asked people in favor and there was no opposition. So this hearing is closed, okay? We actually have somebody here that did a presentation that's great. It's like they're taking a home down and they're actually building on the footprint that was there. So the only thing that they need is a little extension on the deck that goes to a seawall. So it's really not affecting anyone. So I don't see any problem with this at all. Any other comments?
Bill has a comment.
Mr.
No, I was
Soto?
going to make
What's that, Mr. Soto?
a motion to approve.
Okay, there you go. We have a motion.
to approve.
We need a second?
Second the motion?
Okay. All right, we have a motion to approve. We have a second on the motion. Mr. Soto,
With the motion,
Ms. Valakut,
Motion.
Mr. Wolf,
With the motion?
Mr. Casey.
With the motion.
I'm with the motion that's approved.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. That was easy.
Thanks,
wasn't
Joe.
it? Sure. Okay. Let's see, old business. Well, we don't have it on our, Megan, I need your help here. We have a blank sheet on the bottom here. New business, any new business? No.
Not tonight.
Any old business?
We'll see 781 East Broadway. So,
That'll be up next week. We usually have staff update on here. Okay, how about approval of the minutes from, let's see, August? We need a motion to approve the minutes from August. Ms. Valakut, your mic's off, so you can do that.
Okay.
You made a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from August.
All right, all in favor, raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
All right, anything else, board members? No? Thank you for,
No.
again, doing this. We had a very easy meeting this evening, so.
Okay.
that's it.
When are we going to be in person?
I know, it's nice seeing you guys, actually, all of you. We haven't gotten any word at all about that.
Okay.
We're gonna have to wait on the word from You know what? We're gonna have to let the aldermen go out there and do all of that first and see what happens with any of them. Because they're a lot more expendable than us, you know. So then we'll go with the planning zoning people. When everything is fine, then we'll come back. All right, everyone. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Have a
thank
good evening.
you.
Have a good evening.
Take care, folks.
Good night.
Good night.